What is going on, YouTube? Pass the prop back here again. We're going to be talking some Thursday night football. We're going to do our first look for Sunday plays. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we got today. We got a quick one today. It's not going to be as long as our Friday show is usually. Usually Wednesday is going to sit around that 30-minute mark. So hopefully we'll get you guys in, get you out of here, and hopefully you're ready to cash some bets. So join as always by my guys too. How we doing, man?
I'm doing good. Obviously, we got a good Thursday night football game to talk about. Not something that we should take for granted. If you remember last year's show, by week 5, it was pretty much Panthers Saints. You know what I mean? They go away from those primetime games real quick to some more like filler games for, the betting degenerates like us out there. So we do got a great one. Obviously, Bills, Dolphins, going to be really exciting. Got some good props to talk about. So I'm ready to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We should have a good game here. I know we talked a little bit already about just the injury news. Obviously, Mostert ruled out already. Achane questionable, I think, is how we would say it. I know McDaniel's kind of been talking all over the place with how he's feeling and stuff. So that's going to kind of throw a little wrench in things here. So we're going to be off the beaten path here, finding our own spots today. Let's recap our last show. I know it was kind of shit because CMC gets ruled out. He's even supposed to not play this week, I'm seeing. Where's the fines, bro? Where's the fines, dude? They should – Shanahan should get fucking cut. Should. All the money in these betting markets, bro, and all this money probably put on San Francisco for all this different stuff, all these betting spots, and you just rule out your best player, 2 hour before the game. I love that Jordan Mason said that. Hopefully Shanahan just gets a fat fine and moves on track, bro.
Yeah, I personally never get too mad at this kind of stuff just because I like the strategic. Like if I was a head coach, you want to give as little information available as possible, especially for week 1. So their objective isn't to help us. Yes, maybe they broke some rules, right? And they deserve punishment for that. But I'm not going to sit here and be mad at them because at the end of the day, you're playing for millions of dollars. You're trying to win at all costs, right? So lying about CMC is exactly what I would be doing if I was the head coach, But also, like you said, Jordan Mason fucked up a little bit, and now they're gonna get fined or whatever, or get caught for it. So it did mess up that game a little bit. Obviously, CMC ended up being voided, but yeah, it was definitely honestly a complete shock. Like what was that, Friday or midday afternoon on Monday?
No, it was 4:30.
5:30.
Yeah, it was literally an hour and a half before the game started. And obviously, I had CMC in fantasy that week. Have him in best ball in those 4-week best balls. So he kills those. Put a 3-year ban on Shanahan, kick him out of the league, send him to the Canadian Football League, and I'll be fine with it. Yeah, he needs at least 3 years. If it's anything less, then I'm going to be kind of pissed because this dude deserves it.
Yeah, it'll likely be like a $25,000 fine. So be ready for that.
Well, I'm hoping he's out for 3 games. He's out as long as CMC's out.
That would be funny. That would be really
force
funny.
Him out, and then you got to sit an extra game because you faked CMC injury. So I bet you're not even hurt, bro. You're not even hurt. They're just sitting him out because just.
Well, I don't know about that. I think it's probably the opposite. I think he's probably fucked up, and they've just been lying about it for a while. What, Achilles? Anytime you hear the word Achilles, that's terrible news. I wouldn't expect him. They're saying week 2, probably not. I'm probably thinking week 3 or 4 at least. So we'll see.
Yeah, Jordan Love will be back before McCaffrey, bro. For real.
It's looking like it.
Yeah. So we end up cashing the Dodgers portion of my other one, and then we have Mr. Kittle here.
Oh my God. And I went so heavy on Kittle as well. Luckily, I went so heavy on Debo because I was on right when the news broke. So I was absolutely hammering Kittle, which was very unfortunate because obviously he fell. I got the opening line as well at 41. So he landed at 40 exactly, which was a little bit of a heartbreaker right there. So tough day with Kittle. Obviously, he did not cash the chalk for everybody, but luckily I was there. I got a little Debo to offset it and, end up profitable. And obviously the Lazard stuff, which we talked about on the show, really ended up carrying my night with him just cashing every single long shot. Only one I didn't have was the 2 touchdowns. Shout out to the complete degens who bet him to score 2 touchdowns because I wasn't thinking that crazy. But Lazard, obviously, and honestly, shout out to whoever asked that question in the chat because that's what led to us talking about it. That's pretty much what inspired my post and everything. So definitely great question, and hopefully you guys fire off some more good questions. It works, right? We talk about the stuff, we think about it, and we made a little bit of money after too.
Yeah, talked about Lazard scoring on here, which is awesome. Obviously, went crazy there in the second half. Didn't do anything in the first half. So, but yeah, we ended up getting there. I'm feeling pretty good. So we're heading into today's slate. Let's talk about that a little bit here. We have probably the best. I would say I didn't look through all the rest, but this has got to be damn near the best primetime game for Thursday night that we're going to get this year with the Miami Dolphins and the Bills. I mean, you said it before, man. We've seen some pretty shit Thursday night games, so you gotta enjoy these at all costs because we're not. I don't think we're getting too many of these.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm excited. I mean, this is going to be a fun one for me. We always talk about picking a side or a total or whatever. I mean, I think the one that sticks out to me is the Dolphins, which is a little weird to say because the Dolphins have not had the most success against the Bills over the last couple of years. If you tune into First Take or whatever, which I unfortunately was watching this morning,
Ooh.
they always bring up like the record and stuff where Tua gets like owned by the Bills, all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I like. Even though neither of these teams looked great week one, both kind of had suboptimal performances. The Dolphins fucked around. Honestly, probably should have lost to the Jags. Same with the Bills. The Bills, both teams did the exact same thing where they fucked around in the first half. Then they played a little bit better in the second half and obviously got the win. I would say my biggest concern is Achane. I feel like he matters so much to this game. And obviously a guy that went from, not even a first or second round pick to now being one of the more important players to a spread is kind of crazy. But it shows you why he was being drafted to where how high he was this offseason is because he's such an impactful player to this team. So their wide receiver core is going to rock, right? Not Kittle, that's still in my mind. We got Tyreek Hill out there. We got Jalen Waddle. We know those guys are going to take care of business, but you do kind of need that third option. And not having Mostert there with injury, now you're throwing in Jeff Wilson. Maybe you're even throwing in a rookie instead. I think Achane injury news is going to be really, really important to this one. And honestly, I do think he plays. I don't know about you. I saw a video of him practicing earlier. They had some footage of him. It's just him walking around and like stretching. It's not anything crazy, but it is good to see. The reporters were saying that he was, changing direction on his ankle. He looked comfortable, all that kind of stuff. So assuming Achane does play, I don't think the Bills defense is going to be able to contain the explosive plays from this offense. I think that's what it comes down to. And I think the Dolphins probably sneak out a close win right here. So I'm excited about it. I do think the Dolphins, I would give them the slight edge if Achane does end up playing.
Yeah, we can just look at what the sports books are talking about as well. We have a minus 140 on the Dolphins, giving them minus 2.5. Bills on the other side, seeing 48.5 to 49 on the total. I think I would lean a little bit to the Bills personally. I think I'd be leaning a little bit more to the Bills, especially if I can almost get 3 points. I'm almost getting 3 points, man. And I don't know, all the distractions everywhere. Obviously, the Hill stuff, he's on news stuff, still talking about that. You got obviously an injury to your number two. Just it seems like a lot of moving parts, and then you play 4 days later, right? That's just for me. I'm gonna probably roll with a little bit more of a proven commodity in Josh Allen, especially regular season Josh Allen. But yeah, I was very disappointed with both teams throughout week one. Hopefully, you guys didn't stack them because neither of them did anything really outside of one big play to Tyreek, but I mean that's pretty much all he does. So I think it's going to be nice because hopefully we can start seeing these teams let it loose a little bit because we saw a very conservative week one from both sides. So hopefully we see this open up a little bit and have a good Thursday night game. So we will get right into our props here. There's 37 of you guys in here with us. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We appreciate all the support on these first, 4 or 5 shows of NFL. We see what you guys like, and we love to see you guys here with us. So we got 2 plays here, and then we'll get into some Sunday first look and get you guys on your way on this Wednesday.
Sounds good. We're going to start out with a little bit of a familiar face if you're a longtime viewer. Me and PPS crushed some Mac Hollins back on the Raiders. That was a fun little couple week. He's one of those guys that he's popped up on a couple different teams, makes an impression here or there, but he's been kind of a career like backup kind of guy, right? I really like Mac Hollins in this game. When you look at his yardage, right, we're sitting at 19.5 right now, 18.5 on Bet Rivers. If you do have that book, they are hanging the best line right now, but everywhere else has 19.5. And you look at the snaps and the routes between him and his fellow wide receivers, I think Hollins kind of easily sticks out, right? He ran one less route than Shakir last week, 21 versus 20, and he was out there for the second most wide receiver snaps behind the rookie, I like Keon. I think he's an interesting rookie. I don't think he's like a high level like Neighbors or like a Harrison where you would bet on him to be the wide receiver one out of the gate. He wasn't even necessarily a full-time wide receiver one anywhere in college. He was always with another high level guy, right? Whether it's Wilson with Florida State or Jaden Reed with Michigan State, he always kind of worked as like the 1B. I almost think like T. Higgins is kind of a good comp for him personally. As like a guy that's going to contribute, he's going to be there, but I don't know if he's necessarily the alpha. And when you look at the rest of the wide receiver room, Shakir is kind of moving all around. He's outside sometimes, he's in the slot sometimes. He's almost double this price in terms of yardage for a guy that's running one more route than Hollins. So what they showed us is that all three of these guys, plus a little bit of Curtis Samuel mixed in, it seems like Curtis Samuel's still recovering from turf toe. I saw his line is all the way down to 17.5 receiving yards. And I noticed they didn't even really use him in the rushing game at all, which I thought was going to be something they would do this year, especially with like no depth at the running back position at all. I kind of figured he'd be a more like versatile player. But looking at that usage, I feel more comfortable that he's still injured or at least has some turf toe complications, and they're going to kind of move him in a little bit more slowly. But even though he was involved as the wide receiver 4, he really wasn't anywhere close to Mac Hollins' snap count. Other thing I noticed, not only did he catch the touchdown, right? He was a red zone weapon, which if you've never seen Mac Hollins, the thing we always used to joke about, he looks like a tight end. He's like a huge, big-bodied wide receiver, which to me makes him very appealing for a 50-50 ball, right? Normally when we talk about long, down the field shots, we're talking about 28, 29. You only need a 20-yard catch to cash this, right? So a guy with that kind of body type, not only being helpful in the red zone, but also for some of those more downfield targets is nice. The thing I like the most about him, and you can tell the team likes the most about him, and what's actually earned him the second most snaps, is he's a great blocker. Because he's so big, he is a fantastic outside blocker. You even saw him getting some more slot snaps, which kind of surprised me, mostly because I'm pretty sure they wanted him kind of in the middle of the field blocking there. And obviously it's not the sexiest thing in the world, right? You don't get fantasy points for blocking, but you get on the field. And that's what matters when Josh Allen is your quarterback. The other thing I want to mention, obviously a low line compared to the guys that are running similar snaps to him. He's out on the field. I think Josh Allen's going to throw a little bit more than his lines project in general. I see 230.5, like passing yards is what it was when I was looking at it yesterday. I'm not sure if it's moved at all, but Allen was never out of his comfort zone last game. When they played the Cardinals, they just wanted to run. And that's going to be their game plan a lot this year, but they were never outside of their comfort zone, even when they were trailing, right? They were still coming out down 2 touchdowns, running on first and second down. So they have their game plan. They're going to stick to it. That's cool. The Cardinals defense is actually not good enough to make you uncomfortable, to kind of make you go off of that game plan. I think the Dolphins are going to do a better job with that. And I think the Dolphins have a clear weakness, and I think it's that secondary, right? We saw them lose in the secondary plenty last game to Brian Thomas Jr., right? A rookie who's kind of cooking Jalen Ramsey, especially in the first half over there. Obviously, a guy like Kirk dominant over the middle. Like we saw we saw a weakness in that Dolphins secondary, and I think that can be exploited even more with Josh Allen at quarterback here, who can make those insane down the field throws, possibly cash this in just one attempt. So Mac Hollins a little bit under the radar, but he's the wide receiver 3 by routes, wide receiver 2 by snaps. He's up there with Shakir. He's out there just as much as the top 2 guys, and yet his line really doesn't reflect that. So I like Hollins. I think he can do this for us in just one catch. Kind of reminds me a little of Justin Watson, but I think he's going to be more involved than Justin Watson was, which makes this, a little bit nicer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I mean, usually on these short weeks, right, you give your you give those running backs a little bit more of a break on those, especially when you saw James Cook get as much action as he did that first week. So hopefully they tone it down a little bit, probably tone down Allen's run, like scripted running.
Maybe.
Just because you saw the hand injury, they're making a bigger deal about it than it is, but it's week 1 and you only got 3-4 days to recover. So maybe they cut those down, and maybe on like those plays in the red zone on like the 15, instead of doing like a power, QB sneak here, maybe that is a push play to the end zone, because we did obviously see Mac Hollins score last game in that one as well. So I was very frustrated with seeing no A-Chain lines. I wanted to go to A-Chain, whatever you want to call it. So I got a little bit rattled when I saw all the Mostert news and stuff come up here today and kind of mess up all of my stuff that I was going to talk about on the show. So I'm going to do a combo. I'm going to be buying down on one, but I'm also going to have it with an MLB spot. So bear with me. Happy that 40 of you guys are in here live with us to grab these right away. This is on FanDuel because they're giving me the alternate reception line on FanDuel only. They're not giving it to me on DraftKings. That's a whole different story. I'm going to be rolling Tyreek 6 catches and the Baltimore team total at 2.5. Okay, so Tyreek, we'll talk about him first because obviously this is the NFL show. Love to see the target share. Obviously, he had 12 targets in week 1. Also, he had 12 targets and only came down with 7 of them, right? That's a 58% reception rate last year in however many targets. I didn't even check how many targets, but it was close to like 200 targets. This dude had a 69% catch rate, right? And the reason why I think that was they find a way to give him the ball in any way possible. They just need to get the ball into his hands. And if you have H-hand limited at all, I see a lot more bubble screens in this one. That counts for a reception. That's why I'm not going yards. You can see a lot of those like flips in front of Tua to just get him the bubble screen in front and just get him moving on the outside. McDaniel obviously finding a way to get this guy the ball at all costs. I know I have seen people saying, oh, Waddle missed some time in that game. Well, he missed like one series. He missed one series, and that's not going to change what their idea of Tyreek is, and that's to go down the field. Looking at his numbers, obviously he had, what was it? I think he's now second in the league at 130 yards behind Jaden Reed. Shout out Jaden Reed, obviously my Packer, but 80 of that was one play. So that means you got how many of these catches, right? You have 6 other catches that combine for 50 yards, right? So they're working him underneath. They're kind of getting them the ball, just letting them do some work there. And for me, if I don't have 2 of my more explosive playmakers here, I'd rather go to a guy that I know is proven. I know they're going to force him the ball. In 6 catches, I mean, his normal line is 7.5 right now at plus 130. You can grab it. I'd rather play the 6 and combo it with something than me try to play a minus 140 on him just to record the 7 catches. So minus 250 on the 6, I think is a great parlay piece. I think he's going to be just absolutely spoon-fed the ball here and forced into him here. So I'm going to be going with one of my favorite teams on today's slate. Obviously, we got a huge MLB slate today. I'm going to go to the Orioles. They're facing off against Nick Pivetta. I love Nick Pivetta. I know a lot of people know that. I love betting on Nick Pivetta. But the reason why I like this spot is number 1 ranked, positive game environment. It's very hot. Wind's blowing out. And you have Nick Pivetta, who likes putting the ball in the air, right? He likes getting fly balls more than he probably should, especially against this type of team. Against lefties, a 50% fly ball, 47% fly ball to righties. You are bringing in a team here with unlimited power. Gunnar, Santander, right? Ryan O'Hearn's going to be in the lineup today. You got Adley at the top. Like, it's just so much pop. And when you don't have a guy that can get the ground balls in Fenway, I'm a little bit worried here, especially on the year. He's got a 16% home run to fly ball rate to righties. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. You look at his other numbers here. He's averaging 2.1 home runs per 9 to right-handed batters. That's terrible. I'm expecting a lot of balls to be flying out. On top of that, Boston's the 5th worst bullpen in the MLB. So I only need 3 runs from probably, you could say, one of the best, if not the best, lineup in the MLB. I'm signing myself up for a good hitting environment. We got the Orioles here. I think we're going to see some runs in this game, and I think the Orioles give me at least 3, maybe even 6 or 7. So to be able to combo that with Tyreek and get me at a minus 125 price tag, I feel very good about this spot.
Yeah, no, I like the combo. I'm a big fan of Tyreek as well. I told you before the show, like 6.5 is just on FanDuel right now. They have minus 138. And I mean, that's a really tempting number, especially when everyone else is at 7.5 in the market. I mean, Tyreek Hill, you mentioned it. I'll add another stat in there. I didn't want to say behind the line of scrimmage because I couldn't tell exactly with the throwing chart. But last week, this was the most in the Mike McDaniel era. He had 11 targets behind the line of scrimmage last week. I mean, that's pretty insane to have 11 of your quarterback's throws be behind the line of scrimmage. And I believe 2 or 3 more of them were like sub 5 yards, which is just about the same thing. If A-Chain is 1 out or 2, put in a more traditional running back role and less in the slot because there's no Mostert, then I mean Tyreek is going to have double-digit catches in this game. Like if Achane is out, Tyreek is going to have double-digit catches. But honestly, like I said, even if Achane is in, I really could see it being one of those cases where he plays a little bit more in the traditional running back role and less of those slot targets are there. And it's not like, Braxton Berrios isn't going to take that job. So Tyreek, I mean, he could have like legit 3-4 catches just behind the line of scrimmage alone outside of his, traditional route tree. So I like Tyreek a lot. Obviously the Orioles spot, I haven't looked too close, but I know Pavetta has been exactly what you said, kind of on and off, but he gives up the fly balls, and that Orioles team can really take advantage. So maybe toss me a home run pick after the slate or something like that too. But yeah, definitely like the combo. And one more thing I will say too, for people that are watching like tomorrow and this game is over and they want another parlay piece, because I was looking at it too, I think Kincaid 25 yards is a good one. I know people hate it, but you're getting such good value on Kincaid 25 because he wasn't good last week. But like the underlying usage was good. He was still demolishing Dawson Knox and route run. Obviously, we know the Dolphins are not the greatest against tight ends. I do think, just as a recommendation, that if you're watching, you don't have this combination anymore, that I think Kincaid 25 could be a pretty solid leg as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is I know this game is today, just because they don't give me any lines for tomorrow, but if you are popping on here, obviously Stu gave you the Kincaid. If you want an MLB one, just drop them in the chat. Obviously, we will see everything before the slate tomorrow, right? I mean, we're on here. We're trying to pop on here as much as possible and make sure we get you guys taken care of for this good primetime game. So just make sure if you do have questions on that, just pop them in there, and we should be able to get to that. 43 people in here live with us. We got 10 likes on them. Let's get that up to 20. Let's get up to 20 likes here before we get into the Sunday first look. First time we've done the first look here on the Wednesday show. I guess let's pick 2 games each, Stu. Let's talk maybe one that you're looking at for props and one that you want to watch. Maybe it's the same game, but let's talk our the Sunday slate a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, in the past, if you watch, we've always done DFS talk, but I feel like this show's kind of gone so far away from DFS and more to betting. And on the Friday show, we talk about our favorite game or our favorite underdog, but we don't talk that much just about the full slate in general. So for me, this was inspired personally because I've been arguing about the Steelers-Broncos game all morning, and the fact that I think even now, with all the trends in the world against me, that I still love the Steelers in that game. And honestly, they're now in consideration for my survivor pick this week because the Broncos are really, really bad. And the thing that annoys me the most is that week 2, you see this anytime you tune into football, any kind of sports talk radio, YouTube show, your average Twitter capper, however you get your content. There's this shared narrative that all comes together of, hey, you can't overreact to week 1. You can't overreact to week 1. You're going to get caught. This is how, Vegas built all those hotels, blah, blah, blah. You got to understand, one, a majority of sports bettors that are giving these opinions are losing anyway. They're losing every week, not just week 2, right? You make your money by making the call, like by trusting what you see before the rest of the market has time to catch up. Because if you have these hot takes in week 2 and then you would say, let me hold back, I'm not sure if I believe this stuff, maybe it's 1 week sample size, and then the same thing happens week 2, now the whole world has seen that. Your edge isn't there. What you're seeing is widely available now. So that would be my general counter argument to all this week 1 overreaction talk. Like, you need to, if you want to make money betting on sports, you need to be trusting what you're seeing. If you don't, that's fine. I mean, you can check out this show or something like that. You know what I mean? But I think that, like, taking the Steelers as a heavy favorite is one that I've seen kind of called as like, oh, this is a mega overreaction. Look how underrated the Seahawks defense is. That's one that's coming up. I think the Seahawks defense is so good. Both of us do. We talked about that so much last week, and that's why I like Javonte reception so much. That's not a secret at all. But they got another tough defense this week against the Steelers, right? TJ Watt up there, he makes life hell, especially for rookie quarterbacks. I do know Tomlin has an insane career history against rookies in general, but Bo Nix in particular is bad. He's just not a good quarterback. He can't throw the ball down the field. He averaged 3.3 yards per attempt last week. That's disgusting. It's truly, truly disgusting. He's never been able to throw the ball down the field. It's not a shock to anybody that has ever watched this kid in his life. That's why he spent 6 years in college, right? The best of the best don't do that. So when I look at this game, I see another very gritty defense. I see two ugly teams. Which team would I rather take in the swamp in these ugly, gritty games? It's Mike Tomlin. He's made a career over winning on blocked punts, on last-second field goals, on winning the special teams, winning the turnovers. He does all that ugly stuff right. Well, the Broncos, Bo Nix, you're going to trust him in the trenches against this team? I don't buy it at all. I think Bo Nix probably throws 2 picks in this game. I think it's another disgusting one. I bet the Broncos team total under 17.5 for that exact reason. I have a very hard time seeing them score more than 1 touchdown. So that's the early game that really caught my attention. I see a lot of different people in like multiple of my chats kind of have argued about it this morning. And I like the Steelers. I'm probably going to take them on the money line and maybe some other stuff as well.
Yeah, it's not that far out, right? The price is not – I thought it'd be bigger, dude, with just watching how shitty they looked. And you got to – talk about grit. That was not Tomlin's first time winning without scoring a fucking touchdown. They just won that last game without scoring a touchdown. Obviously, Boswell hit 6 field goals, but that was the 3rd time. I thought that was crazy that he's actually done that 3 times in his career, just not even scoring a touchdown and still winning. So, obviously, shout out to Tomlin. Obviously, I'm a big Tomlin fan. I think Arizona Rams is probably the one I want to look at, specifically for like game that I want to watch. Because, man, how many targets is freaking Cooper Kupp getting this game? I mean, seriously, with no Puka Nacua, I have 0 Puka Nacua, mind you, in best ball, which I feel pretty damn good about because I was drafting Kupp instead. But 21 targets in that last game. I mean, something else has got to switch, right? Something's got to happen here. I think Arizona needs to figure their shit out. Last game was awful. That was one of the worst offensive performances for how much talent was there. I'm not afraid of this Rams defense. I'm just worried that like this should be a bounce back game for your pass catchers, but we just saw them run the ball about 45 times against the Bills and then lose the game. So maybe go back to the drawing board and realize, our best player is Kyler Murray. Maybe we should do some rollouts. Maybe we should not just stand this dude back there and do nothing. And this dude just runs for his life. So maybe draw up some plays for your new number 1 pick, right? Maybe draw up a play for Marvin Harrison instead of just freaking use him as a decoy. Like, it's crazy. Like, figure your shit out. Yeah. And now you're seeing the Cardinals are minus 120. Like, really? I don't want to bet that, but I also don't want to bet the Rams with no Puka Nacua there. So it's just like, I don't want to go to either spot. We're seeing a 50-point total, 49.5. I mean, damn, I might just take the under because I don't like either one of these teams right now. So they pissed me off in week 1. I can't hold grudges, but I could obviously see this game just turning into like 35-30, right? Pretty easily with how shitty these defenses looked on Sunday.
Yeah, what am I missing here? Why is this spread the way it is?
I don't. That's why I picked this game. I didn't get it.
It's not logical. I mean, the Rams are like a really good team. Like, sure, the defense post Aaron Donald to me is obviously going to be the biggest thing here. But even without, I mean, talk about a guy that is able to scheme anyone open. Tyler Johnson, right? I mean, these random guys are just coming in and instantly producing. Demarcus Robinson, like, these are guys that have spent multiple stops on multiple teams for reasons, right? The real thing is kind of just like Shanahan, right? How CMC goes down and suddenly Jordan Mason just steps up. It's the system. It's the McVay offensive system. So I'm not downgrading this team like 4 points because fucking Puka Nacua isn't in there anymore. Like you saw it, Cooper Kupp did whatever he wanted to last week against, I don't want to say it's a better defense, but both of them are bad defenses. So I don't see them stopping this Rams offense. Like you said, the score could just really kind of get up there. But I hate to say trap game this early in the season, but like, what are we doing here? Well, who's laying the Cardinals as a favorite? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I'm curious who is out there doing that, because someone with a lot of money must be, if the line is the way it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, Stafford's still getting a dome, bro. He's still gonna go to a dome. It isn't like we're going anywhere crazy, where we're gonna have to worry about him getting any weather issues. It's in Arizona there. While you're talking about the game that you might have some props in, I'm gonna check on action and just check where the money's at on their site here, because I am interested. Like I'm curious if it's just like some dudes laying the hammer and like the handles all going, to the Cardinals here, but it's like more bets are going to that side, so we maybe have some big boy bettors going to one side. But I'll let you talk about a game that you're looking at for prop reasons here.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go close to home. I'll say Giants Commanders.
Yeah, that's mine too, bro.
Okay, it's going to be great for props.
I love that game.
Right? We talk about this for NBA a lot when, like, back in the day when the Rockets would play the Thunder before they were both good. It happened a couple times a year, and it was always fantastic because you get guys that aren't normally going to be in competitive game scripts, which means you don't get the traditional lines. Because normally – both of these two teams are going to be trailing by a touchdown this year. Like, that's going to be the standard case for both of these two teams. And the lines are set accordingly, right? But personally, we're getting a close game here. I see it. It looks like the Commanders opened at 3, which is kind of crazy, but 1.5 seems to be the line now, 1 to 1.5. I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. And I see the total is already juiced to the over, because we all just saw that Commanders defense last week, and we saw Baker Mayfield look way better than Baker Mayfield is supposed to look. So I don't know if Daniel Jones can get to quite that level, but when we're talking about guys that don't normally have these ceiling outcomes, of Malik Neighbors, someone that I'm really high on this season, like, this is the time to do it. I think this is the time where we see Malik Neighbors go for 100 and a touchdown, right? We see maybe some guys that wouldn't normally catch touchdowns get more red zone opportunities simply because they're going to be chances in this game. So I love it. It's going to be a madness. It's going to be disgusting. I hope my team comes out on top, though.
You're going to love this because so I always do like my first look DFS lineup, and just right when the numbers come out, right when the prices come out, I make my lineup, and I don't do any research. I just play what I like in the spot. First play, locked in, Daniel fucking Jones are fucking in this lineup, bro.
Yeah.
It does not matter. Daniel Jones is the cheapest quarterback on the slate, bro. How?
Really?
I get it.
Oh.
Yeah, dude sucked, but this is the reaction from last week. Everybody saw him play like shit last week. And mind you, I saw him. He did play like shit. But, bro, grab 9 of you guys. There's 39 of you guys in this chat right now. Grab 9 of you and us 2, and we're freaking at least moving the ball on this Commanders fucking secondary, because my God, it's bad. So there's that. Second, I mean, Neighbors, I saw like his EPA per play on plays that he was targeted was like 20% higher than every other play the Giants ran. And I thought that was hilarious because the dude is that good, right? And then my other one, obviously, I'm just looking at my lineup that I made there. That was obviously towards the top, but I'll talk about a different game. Tampa Bay Lions, bro. Is Baker Mayfield about to throw and lead the NFL in passing yards these first 2 weeks? I'm playing Baker Mayfield this week again over Dak. I played him over Dak last week. I'm playing him over them again against the Saints this week. I don't give a shit. I'm playing Baker. Baker's finding a way into every – I draft Baker in every league because last year he was a godsend for me after Burrow went out. I grabbed him again because I like him. My God, dude. I have a feeling this dude's going to chuck it around again. This is going to be a game I want to target again. Obviously, going to the Lions side, I think all the pass catchers are going to have a little bit more of a pop-off game outside of, we saw Jameson Williams have that huge game, but Laporta and Amon-Ra both down weeks in week 1. I think both of those dudes are going to just have heavy targets against this Tampa Bay defense. I think this is going to be a fun one in terms of props. And you look at the numbers, they're 51.5 total, right? That's the highest on the slate right now on Sunday. So by far, obviously, I wanted that Washington game, but you look at that number. What is it? 40.5, 41? 44 and a half. 44 and a half there. 51 and a half in this other game. A full extra touchdown. 7-point doggies going on the Bucs side. Sign me up for Baker Mayfield again, baby. I'm sure you're going to hear me talk about him on Friday. I really like that game. And before I move on, before we get out of here today, I looked on action, looking on their big money spot. It is 21% of the bets are on the Rams. So that means 79% of the bets are on the Cardinals. 97% of the money is on the Rams.
There you go.
It's the biggest difference I've seen on here in a very long time because it's just the volume is keeping it at that number, but big money going on that side. You want to be on the side of the big money, right? You want to be on that side where those are all the sharp guys. I mean, I haven't seen one of 76 difference in a very long time. That's a big, big difference in terms of amount of handle in just the number of bets. So, man, I think it's just asking me to bet the Rams, ain't it?
Yeah, but I mean, there has to be some kind of sharp money on the Cardinals to keep it there. Like, I don't know. I'm curious. I got to seek out some like analysis in this game and see. I want to hear even if someone in the chat has like a passionate argument for the Cardinals or something like that. Because I am curious, like what the angle is right there necessarily. I don't know. That seems like I don't want to say it's two different categories of teams, but if I had to power rate them, I probably would have, the Rams in a slightly higher tier as like a long shot Super Bowl contender. Well, I would say the Cardinals are like a fun wild card weekend team. You know what I mean? I think that's the distinction. So I don't know. I like that. I'm going to see where that line goes over the course of the week. I'm very curious, but that's a great one to bring up in the early show. Maybe even Friday, we will be talking about a completely different number. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm expecting that one to be kind of flipped, hopefully. So let's take a look in the chat. We haven't had a chance to do that yet. I got to check out how many of you guys dropped that like button on the show here. We'll take a look here in a sec. But looking at that, Tyrone in the chat joining us here. We're at 15 likes. Keep hitting that like button. We're at 35 you guys here staying with us. Straight Sniper, can I interest you, boy, in Ray Davis props? I would probably only bet a touchdown, right? I mean, you only bet a touchdown, but then you have Josh Allen on the 1 yard line. This is like tough, bro.
I bet at week one because I like Ray Davis. He was one, barely out there, which is not a good sign. And two, the biggest kind of thesis is that, okay, they're going to calm down with Josh Allen early in the season like they did last year. Because if you remember these last 2 years, they started real slow with Josh Allen rushing. This new offensive coordinator is not about that life. Josh Allen was full go Josh Allen rushing last game. So I don't see the edge there anymore because the edge is that James Cook isn't that great of a red zone back. He's like, okay, he's probably middle of the pack. The real crazy angle, which I will now be betting, is actually Galaxy Brain. It's not even Ray Davis. It's Reggie Gilliam, the fullback, at 22-1. He's actually out there more than Ray Davis is. He's going to be out there more in the red zone. And we've seen them use Gilliam a couple times last year.
Pass him a couple.
Exactly. He's not. He can catch a check down. He's a solid fullback. So that's the Galaxy Brain. I literally, as soon as I saw you comment that Ray Davis one like an hour ago, I checked the Gilliam lines because I knew I would like it. It's 22-1 versus 6-1. So I'm definitely tossing like a little $10 Caesars free bet on Reggie Gilliam this week. Let's go.
Yes, sir. We got Dominic in here talking about. I think that's another reason why you like Tyreek. They did the same thing last week.
Yeah.
Arizona did that how many times? I'm pretty sure Dortch had 5 catches, and I don't think one of them was past the line of scrimmage. Maybe one. That was 4 yards. Crazy.
Shout out Greg Dortch.
Love Greg Dortch, bro. Told you. I said it on the show on Best Ball. I think I have 50-something% because he just goes super late, and the boy's going to grab me 3-4 catches a game, and all I need him to do is break one. I'll take it. Liking Cook over 59.5 rushing yards. Tua over 21.5 completions. I'm going to be real here. I'm not betting any Tua completion lines when I already have enough invested on Tyreek. Receptions, because I know that if he's throwing the ball, it's probably going to 2 dudes. So I'd rather just bet on those 2 dudes to do it because how many, maybe 15%, 20% go other than those 2?
For me, it's up to A-Chain. He changes it so much. Like, I would legit like the over with A-Chain and like the under without him. Like, because to me, that's like 4 or 5 catches alone right there, in addition to, like you said, the Tyreek target. So he is really the game breaker for me for Tua completions, personally. So you got to wait, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Sue. We're out of here. We got 44 of you guys in here 40 minutes later. This is a little longer than a normal one. We appreciate you stopping in with us. Anything else you want to say before this? Before we go in there, obviously, a lot of new viewers popping in here as you guys continue to see us put out winners. So obviously you want to get over here and cash in with us. So we appreciate you popping in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll just say I'll probably try to find some kind of long shot for this game just because those have been popping with the Lazard and Likely going 2 for 2 so far. So definitely looking for some long shots. I wish my guy Malik Washington was playing, man. He's freaking had some injury problems and stuff, Miami wide receiver. But we'll look into that a little bit more. But make sure you're following on Twitter. Obviously, we'll be back here on Friday with our big prop show, like you said, 1 p.m. EST to go over really everything about the slate. That one killed last week. It was a lot of fun. A lot of you guys joined us. And yeah, if you want access to every single one of my player props as soon as they're released, make sure to go follow me on Twitter and go sign up at 4 for 4 under the betting subscription. If you sign up under the betting sub, either code Mono gets you a $25 or $10 first month, and code Tone gets you 25% off the full year. I released Hollins at 17.5 there. It's 19.5 now. I would still obviously play it, but that kind of stuff really does add up over a full season. And I'll avoid doing that as much as possible. But unfortunately, like you said, with this game, all these lines, all these injuries, is kind of my only choice right now. So I still love that a lot. But if you do want everything right when I drop it, make sure to go sign up over there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know we got a great week of football. Obviously, we'll be back here on Friday, as always. I should have an article out for MLB today. I know I'm probably one of the few guys still in those streets. I'm still going. We're still grinding. MLB's been great to us. It's been a really good run on MLB these last 2 months or so. And yeah, I will try to put all of the plays from in here that I play over on Action, so you can track them over there with me. And we'll get them all going here. So thank you guys again for tuning in. I know it's went a little bit longer, and we started a little bit earlier than usual, but we'll be back at noon on Friday. Full NFL slate, ready to go, ready to break it down for you. Maybe I'll even throw a UFC pick in there. I don't know yet. We got a pay-per-view this weekend. It's going to be a huge week for your boy here. Got a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, a huge college football games this weekend. My Badgers playing Bama at home. Woo, that's going to be brutal. That's going to be fucking They're going to lose by 30, but it's all right. I will be back, and I'll be feeling good. Hopefully, I'll be winning some bets in that game as well. So thank you, guys. Best of luck tomorrow. Again, if you have any questions between now and the game, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them. So thank you, guys. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you on Friday.